The best way to set the width of your page is to using the crude width attribute, which I believe is not the norm anymore, although it may still work. Now, there are several types of width that you want to set. Containers. Now, the content inside your body may require a width as well. With the same technique you use to set the width of your body, you can set the width of different sections inside your body. For example, you can use style attribute in your div container with width 200 px. So that will be the limit of that container. If your content goes beyond 200 px, for example in case of text, it will automatically move it to the next line as long as you haven't specified a fixed height. Body. Think of this as the maximum container width for your page. This would be your main container that will have several containers, for example div, section, etc. inside it. The body is the section that will contain everything that your page will display, so setting the width for the body will give you the max width you can work with. You have two options to set up your width for your body. First is with fixed width, for example width equals 200 px. Second way is with fluid width, which most people use these days with responsive web design. There are a few ways to set the width of your web page. The easiest and most universal is to set your body tag to the desired width. Using the percentage as a width gives you a fluid layout. One that will stretch or shrink with various browser sizes. If you want a fixed layout, or one that does not stretch or shrink, you will want to use fixed widths such as pixels, although this may not be recommended in some cases. If you want to develop different widths for different types of devices and browsers, look into media queries. They are versatile pieces of CSS that allow you to define different styles for different reasons. But let's have a close look what is width and height. The CSS height and width properties are used to set the height and width of an element. The CSS max width property is used to set the maximum width of an element. The height and width properties do not include padding, borders, or margins. It sets the height/width of the area inside the padding, border, and margin of the element. The height and width properties may have the following values. Auto. This is default. The browser calculates the height and width. Length. Defines the height/width in pixels, cm etc. Percentage. Defines the height/width in % of the containing block. Initial. Sets the height/width to its default value. Inherit. The height/width will be inherited from its parent value. Remember that the height and width properties do not include padding, borders, or margins. They set the height/width of the area inside the padding, border, and margin of the element. The max width property is used to set the maximum width of an element. The max width can be specified in length values, like pixels, cm, etc., or in % of the containing block, or set to none. This is default. Means that there is no maximum width. The problem with the div above occurs when the browser window is smaller than the width of the element. The browser then adds a horizontal scroll bar to the page. Using max width instead, in this situation, will improve the browser's handling of small windows. Now let's create two examples with fixed and percentage width to see how it work. In first example, we will create a div block element with class first. Now to be visible, this block element need width and height. In our case, for the first example we will use height to be 100 pixels and width to be 50%. Also let's give it a background color, so we can more clearly see what happened. For the second example, I will use again height to be 100 pixels, but this time our width will be 150 pixels, it will be fixed. Again some background color, in our case yellow. Let's now go over some questions people have when they set the width and height. What is the advantage of including width and height attributes for every graphic on the page? It allows the browser to render the rest of the content while the image is being retrieved from the server, which can speed up the display of the page. How do I make my HTML page fit the screen? You should set body and HTML to position fixed, and then set right, left, top, and bottom to 0. That way, even if content overflows, it will not extend past the limits of the viewport. Caveat: using this method, if the user makes their window smaller, content will be cut off. What is max width in HTML? The max width property defines the maximum width of an element. If the content is larger than the maximum width, it will automatically change the height of the element. Note: this prevents the value of the width property from becoming larger than max width. What is the ideal height setting for a full responsive page? For a responsive full page height, set the body element min height to 100 VH. If you set a page width, choose 100% over 100 VW to avoid surprise horizontal scroll bars. Now, after we create our two examples, we can easy check in browser the result we get so far. Like we see, we got first example, which are the biggest one with percentage width 50%, and our second example where the width are fixed to be 150 pixels.